What's up guys, my name is Kyle Diamond, welcome to my MMA channel. Last night at the O2 in London we witnessed one of the greatest nights, if not the greatest. I'm saying it's the greatest night in UK MMA history. I'm trying not to use recency bias, but I really think it is. If you were there at the arena, I'm incredibly jealous of you. I took the whole thing in from home. Usually when I do these things I make a ton of notes on every fight. I've not made any notes because I knew I would remember these fights like the back of my hand the next morning, because I'm going to be talking about these for a long old time. There is a lot to get into. I'm going to recap every fight, so hit subscribe if you want to see more content like this from myself. Leave it a like because I really appreciate that, and let's get straight into it because there is a lot to get to. Opening the night with a tremendous performance was obviously going to be the highly anticipated debut of Mo Mokaev. An incredible career so far, despite only being 5-0 at the time. The most accomplished amateur fighter the sport has ever seen. 5-0, coming into the UFC. Obviously, a huge task for Cody Durden as well, a tough opponent who he called out. But Mo Mokaev made this look like easy work. Caught him with a huge knee early on, and then when Durden slammed him down, he locked in that guillotine choke and got it in under a minute. I think it was the second fastest flyweight submission in the division's history. I mean, you couldn't really ask for a more perfect debut. He got the arena buzzing, got the event off to an incredible start. Mo Mokaev is the truth, ladies and gentlemen, and this is just the tip of the iceberg. So I'm so happy for Mo Mokaev to land that perfect debut, and I'm so glad as well that Dana decided to give bonuses to every fighter who got a finish, because Mo Mokaev deserved the finish, but there were so many great fights that followed him. I was a bit nervous that he wouldn't get one, but of course he did because of what Dana did and gave everyone a finish. So congratulations to Mo Mokaev. Then on the second Fight Pass prelim fight, we had Corey McKenna taking on Elise Reed. This was a tough fight for Corey. When she took Elise Reed down, she was in complete control, but getting there was a difficult thing with Reed's Taekwondo base. I thought Reed used her kicks really, really well to keep Corey back and landed some slick combinations as well. It was a split decision in the end for Elise Reed, but one of the judges gave every round to Corey McKenna, which was absolutely baffling. There's no way. Look, I thought maybe Corey might have got one, but I thought Elise definitely won two of them at least. I don't know how you can score that fight 3 rounds to Corey McKenna, but Corey McKenna will be back. Like I said, it was a tough fight, but excited to see her back in there and how she improves on her game from this. Next up, we had the man himself, Jack Shaw, one of my favourite fighters in the UFC. A really tough fight against Timo Valiev, man. He is no joke. But Jack got the job done once again, climbs to 16-0 with a unanimous decision, and he almost got that finish. The wrestling exchanges here were incredible. Obviously, Valiev has a very strong grappling base, and Jack's MMA grappling is so elite. And they were just kept reversing each other. It was beautiful to watch, but Jack really made the difference count on the feet, which I've always felt like I need that Jack's boxing was the thing that had the most room to grow. I mean, his jab is incredible, but in those the exchanges here was what blew me away. He was catching Valiev on the end of them every time, and obviously dropped Valiev twice in that third round to get that win, solidify that win. Incredible performance once again from Jack Shaw, man. The sky is the limit. Top 15 ranking, hopefully. Let's get some big fights for the tank, because this ain't going anywhere. Then we had a fight that to me was absolutely baffling that it was on the prelim card. I'm not sure. I mean, I know they had a 6-fight main card as it was, but you can't have this fight on a prelim. Paul Craig is one of the most exciting fighters to watch in the UFC. He will either sub somebody out or get beaten up. It's incredible to watch. And he did exactly that in the space of like 4 minutes. He played out his whole career in that 4 minutes. Krylov was on top of him, landing some devastating ground and pound. And just when you're like, oh, maybe this strategy isn't going to work for Paul Craig this time out, he locks up a triangle and gets the submission in the first round. It blew me away, man. I don't think there's any fighter we've ever seen in the octagon like Paul Craig. Like, he so consistently locks up these submissions from his back. It's a dangerous strategy, but it works so well for him. There's just nothing I've ever seen like it. Paul Craig is an enigma. He's in the top 10 now of like heavyweight. He called out Anthony Smith for a fight in Scotland, which make that fight. That would be incredible. I think Anthony Smith is a winnable fight for Paul Craig as well. So let's get that one on. Nikita Krylov, there was a bit of questioning, I suppose, because he's a Ukrainian fighter and he didn't have the flag or anything on his shorts, and they didn't announce where he was fighting out of, but Dana said in the press conference that was Krylov's choice, so fair enough. Yeah, tough fight for him because he was on top, but man, this is what Paul Craig does, you know. Then we had the two big Russians. This was a weird thing to see two Russians fight at this point. I think it kind of, the crowd was a little bit like, we'll take a breather in this one, between Sergey Pavlovich and Shamil Abdurakhimov. I might have said that wrong. I don't know. Pavlovich got the job done in the first round, just dominated him, to be honest. Pavlovich is a good heavyweight, so excited to see how far he can go in this division. I'm yet to really see him have a performance where I'm like, wow, okay, let's go. But this was a solid one. Shamil is a tough opponent, and easily could have got a decision win here and just grinded him out. But fair play to Pavlovich. I didn't take a whole lot of notice of this fight because it was the only one that doesn't have a Brit. I know that there's a fight with Gunnar Nelson, but Gunnar Nelson, he's an adopted Brit, isn't he? So, yeah, I'm glad this one ended when it did, to be honest, and it kept the momentum going a little bit. If this had gone to a decision, it could have killed some of the atmosphere, if we're being honest. Then we had, for me, one of the biggest shocks of the card, the final prelim of the night, Makwan Amirkhani submitting Mike Grundy with an anaconda a minute in. I think I saw a stat that this is one of the only fights in UFC history to not have a single strike landed. They were sort of just trying to work out what each other were going to do. Grundy shot for a takedown without purpose, like without properly setting it up. And Amirkhani just got that choke in straight away. Quick night for Amirkhani. So it's a big win for him. He really needed it, but obviously I'm gutted for Mike Grundy, who also really needed this win. I don't think Mike's UFC results have been a testament to how good he actually is. He's fought some very tough guys, and he made a mistake on this night, so I'm sure he'll get another shot out there, and that one will be a big one, and I'm sure everyone will be behind Grundy. But yeah, I did not see this one coming. We kicked off the main card with the Black Country banger Jai Herbert, who only fights killers, because let me tell you, the man is a killer himself, and I thought he was going to get Ilia Topuria out of there in that first round. He landed a beautiful head kick to drop Topuria, and he was just lighting him up on the feet. That head kick, Topuria's head was like spinning as he went to the floor, but immediately grabbed one of Jai's legs. And then the second round, they said it perfectly on commentary, you can't count this guy out of fights because he's just that dangerous. And as soon as he landed that one shot, he got the knockout. Absolutely gutted for Jai Herbert. It was a beautiful knockout by Topuria, so fair play to him. But yeah, gutted for Jai. Reminded me a lot of the Trinaldo fight, where you're just like, Jai can hang with these guys, but you know, these guys are proving why they're killers, man. But yeah, I'm sure the UFC aren't gonna think about cutting Jai anytime soon. He's delivered some great fights, and he's been winning 3 of the 4 fights he's had in the UFC. Obviously, he did pick up that win over Kama Worthy in his last fight, but gutted for Jai. But I'm sure he'll come again. You can't count that man out. Yeah. I'll be interested to talk to him before his next one and see what he made of his performance, because I thought it was beautiful. It just, sometimes fights go like that. MMA just does be like that sometimes. But yeah, gutted for Jai, but it was an incredible fight while it lasted. As Molly McCann always does, she got the party started in the next fight with a fight against Luana Carolina. Started incredibly well, hurt Carolina pretty badly, and just poured it on. I was worried a little bit about Molly maybe gassing herself out, trying to get that finish in front of the home fans, but she only knows how to fight at one pace, and that one pace is 0-60, so she managed to keep it up. She got some takedowns in there to mix it up, which I thought was clever. And was doing really well for the whole fight, and I thought this is going to be an incredible performance for Molly in front of the home fans. And then, in about 2 minutes of the third round, she's in a sort of grappling, kind of like, are they going to clinch situation, and lands a spinning back elbow to produce one of the best knockouts I've ever seen in the UFC women's divisions, and that sounds like it doesn't do it justice. That's a knockout of the year contender. Absolutely incredible. I am so happy for Molly McCann, not just to put in an incredible performance in front of home fans, because that's where she really shines. But to land a spinning back elbow knockout in the 3rd round after a dominant performance, absolutely incredible from Molly McCann. That will be shown on UFC highlight reels for a long time, and long live the meatball. Taken to the stage next was a fighter that I love to watch when he's in performances like that. I'm of course talking about Gunnar Nelson, who got a unanimous decision over Takashi Sato. Gunnar Nelson, like I said, when he's on like this, I just love watching the man do what he does best. He's so technical at every range, and when he gets you to the ground, he had Sato's back for a lot of this fight, if my memory serves me correctly, and that guy is a nightmare to get off of you. Those shots that he lands with like his knuckles into the side of the ribs and stuff like that, he's just horrible to watch, but horrible in a good way, if that makes sense. Buzzing for Gunnar Nelson to come back after such a long time and get a win. I'm of course devastated that we didn't get that fight with Claudio Silva, but Takashi Sato stepped in, so fair play to him. I would like to see that one run back, to be honest, Gunnar Nelson and Claudio Silva. But we'll see. I'm just happy to see Gunny back in there doing what he does best. Another great performance for him. And it just kept the momentum going, man. This felt like a special night. And then we had, obviously, the one that a lot of people came to see. Paddy the Baddy. There's been a lot of talk about Paddy ever since his UFC debut. Obviously set the world alight with that fight in Vegas. And Paddy's a guy I've been watching for years and years. So to see people debating whether he's all hype and stuff like that is strange, because we've been talking about this for years and years. But there's 2 things I know about Paddy the Baddy. He always brings it. He always brings the show, and his grappling, especially his submissions, is on such a high level. Vargas started the fight really well, but I was never really that worried for Paddy, if we're being honest. Like, you're going to put Paddy on his back, he's going to cause some problems for you. Of course, he got the rear naked choke in the 1st round, as he said he would, get that finish in the 1st, and the place just went crazy. And of course, he does his dances, the O2 Arena's going crazy. He blows the roof off with that post-fight interview. You just have to bet on Paddy. Sure, I've seen a lot of people talking about how far he can go in the UFC, whatever. For me, I'm just enjoying it whilst it lasts, because performance or not, that's the debatable part, is how far can Paddy go. The thing that isn't debatable is that he's going to bring the show every single time. And whenever he wins, you know that you're going to get so many highlight reel moments out of him. Just incredible. The Baddie doing what the Baddie does best. An incredible moment with him and Molly, that for people who've been following them two for a long time, it was a really emotional moment, just to see how far they've come. So yeah, that would have been a great enough narrative on its own, Paddy and Molly doing the business and blowing the roof off. But, well, blowing the roof off more than that Storm did. But we still had 2 fights to go, and boy did they deliver. From a personal standpoint, this was the one that really got me. The co-main event between Arnold Allen and Dan Hooker, I think a lot of people's pick for fight of the night, just the way these two guys always go in there and put on a show. And I thought Arnold could get this win. I was really confident for Arnold, and that Dan Hooker could be the biggest name on his resume. It wasn't just that, it was by far the best performance of his career, and the moment he really needed to announce his arrival. Goes in there, is just willing to trade with Dan Hooker, which I didn't think he would be. I thought he'd be a bit more calculated, but he was just trading with Dan Hooker. He seemed to catch him and just fall in love with hitting him, and just kept going for it. Absolutely poured it on Dan Hooker. It looked like Dan Hooker was going to get stopped, but Dan Hooker always recovers. So I was a little bit like, I wonder if Arnold's burnt himself out there trying to get the finish. We just got to take a step back. He seemed to take about 30 seconds off and then just pour it on him again and get that finish. Punches, knees and elbows is what it says on Tapology. He really threw the kitchen sink at Dan Hooker, which you have to do to get that guy out of there. I mean, I know that we've seen... This might sound like I'm really reaching to find something else that's incredible to say about this fight, but we've seen Dan Hooker stopped before. The Edson Barboza one, which was a really big accumulation of shots, a lot of body shots in there. And we've seen Michael Chandler take him out. Michael Chandler's got incredible one-punch power, so obviously up at lightweight. But we've never seen a guy do this to Dan Hooker and just put it on him and get him out of there in a round. Arnold Allen doesn't have one-punch power, but he just kept hitting him over and over and over again. I was out of my seat, fully lost my head. I am so happy for Arnold Allen that not only did he get this fight, in a co-main, he put on the best performance of his career and got Dan Hooker out of there in about half a round. So happy for Arnold Allen. He called out Calvin Kattar after the fight. Happy to see that he had a name ready. That's an incredible fight that I can't wait for. It needs to be 5 rounds. I'm sure it will be. Probably in the US, I would imagine. But I'm, like I said, I'm over the moon for Arnold Allen. This was incredible. And we still had the main event to go, but I was on cloud 9 already. Finally, the main event. If there was any questions about Tom Aspinall, whether he was ready for this, I've been watching Tom for a long time. I spoke to him back in his Cage Warriors days, and it amazed me how unaffected he was by the fight game. To him, it's just like, I go in there and I get the job done, and then I go home. That's it. So I had no doubts that Tom Aspinall would be ready for this. It was just, how does his striking match up with Volkov? And he landed some good strikes on the feet, but in reality, his striking didn't matter. He just took the guy down. The timing on Tom Aspinall's takedowns was phenomenal. Threatened with submissions, threatened with ground and pound, just bullied Alexander Volkov in there, who, of course, is the far more experienced fighter and a former world champion in Bellator, and then gets the straight arm lock submission in the first round. Just a flawless performance from Tom Aspinall once again. I remember being blown away by his win over, what was the guy? Sergey Spivak that he fought last. Because it seemed like Spivak didn't even land a glove. I don't think he did, in fact, Spivak. I don't know if Volkov landed more than 1 or 2 shots. Just completely dominant once again. And the grappling on display. I mean, I know that he was trying to keep it a secret for a long time about his grappling because he was lighting guys up with his hands, but people know now that Tom Aspinall is no joke on the ground, man. Of course, I'm buzzing for Tom Aspinall. Top 5 probably now in the heavyweight division. Calls out Tai Tuivasa. Brilliant call out. I know that there were some rumours of Tuivasa fighting Stipe. I don't know whether that's actually happening or not. I would love to see Tom get that fight against Tai Tuivasa later in the year. Bring Tuivasa over here. The UK fans will absolutely love Tai Tuivasa as well. So that would be a great night. Guaranteed. Somebody's drinking beer at the end of the night, you know. But man, Cloud9 doesn't even do it justice to how I felt after this card. Absolutely buzzing, exhausted, but so excited about UK MMA. This has been called the Golden Generation. Dana said it himself. This is by far the best group of talent the UK has ever produced. But they all delivered. Well, some of them, of course, didn't get the wins. But majority of the UK fighters did incredibly well in incredibly tough matchups. My heart goes out to Gunnar Nelson. Gunnar Nelson? He won dominantly, not Gunnar Nelson. I love Gunnar Nelson, but that's not my point. Jai Herbert, Corey McKenna, Mike Grundy, because these guys fought incredible fights as well. I'm gutted. Well, obviously I'm talking about Jai and Corey McKenna. Mike Grundy, gutted for him to not pick up that win over Makwan, but I know they'll all come again. Dana's confirmed that we're going to get another UK show this year. If it's Anfield, my head is gone. This laptop's going out the window if they announce Anfield, I'll tell you that. But what a night. Guys, leave a comment. What was your favourite fight of the night? Your favourite performance? So happy they all got bonuses, everyone who got a finish. UK MMA, man, what a night. What a night indeed. Hit subscribe for more content like this, and I will catch you on the next one, guys. Cheers.